You must know that in the garden of life, not every flower blooms in joy at the sight of your success. In fact, many wither and dry in anger and sadness at the sight of your lifting. Sometimes the only crime one could commit in this life was to progress. That was Abel's only crime. But it was a pity that 6-year-old Ayomide didn't understand this. Didn't understand that a huge danger was approaching her. A very deadly one, but in the form of a simple, careless apple. How, you may ask? Please subscribe to the channel. Tunde, a 14-year-old step-uncle to Ayomide, this 6-year-old girl's step-grandmother, had a child later on in her ages, a miracle as so the villagers claim. And it was now this same child that was offering an apple to her. But this apple wasn't normal, it was poison. But how would a little girl know? Ayomide took a bite she shouldn't have. Meanwhile, at the village square, something was happening. Everywhere was dark, but these people's excitement and enthusiasm lit up the entire place. The Bello family that had just traveled down for Christmas were at the forefront of attraction and attention in the village. The villagers liked them for their wealth and philanthropy, as it was commonly said, a wealthy man has many friends, but a poor man is separated from his neighbors. But while every villager rushed to converse with them normally, at this moment, what was happening in front took their attention from the Bellos. "First pot is ready!" a loud voice echoed. The villagers cheered again and were staring at the person in front, their eyes filled with admiration and respect. The person in front was a fat woman who was the village's cook and also Ayomide's step-grandmother and Mr. Bello's stepmother. "I don't know why, but I'm sensing something fishy," Mrs. Bello whispered to her husband. "You have started again," Mr. Bello frowned. "There is nothing fishy about my stepmother or her children. Stop being too suspicious. Don't you know how she's giving free food to people? How can someone like her be fishy?" Mrs. Bello sighed. This her husband was too stubborn and had quite a hot temper. She didn't follow up the matter, but something was wrong. She knew it. The villagers that were giving free plates of rice smiled sheepishly. Night food had taken care of itself. Every villager liked her and was ready to fight for this woman if trouble should come, but they were unaware of something they would discover later, but by then it was too late. The place was bustling with gists, arguments and funny banter when suddenly the whole atmosphere changed. Everywhere suddenly became silent. Only one voice could be heard. "Help! Help! Sister is vomiting blood! She's vomiting blood!" Mrs. Bello's second child and only son, Kofi, screamed to his mother, but the surrounding villagers could hear him perfectly well. What? The Bellos especially were shocked. Their hearts were roaring with anxiety, and together with many of the villagers, they launched to where Ayomide was. It was this night that Mr. Bello learned how to run for a long time in his life. "Rush out to the clinic! Be fast! Be fast!" It wasn't Mrs. Bello that had shouted first. Neither was it any of the villagers that had come for food. Instead, it was the fat cook, Aduni, Mr. Bello's stepmother. She wept loudly, her tears threatening to flood the whole place, causing the entire village to sympathize with the Bello. She had even wept more than Mr. and Mrs. Bello themselves. What was going on? How could this little girl just start vomiting blood like this? The villagers wondered. But Mrs. Bello knew something was fishy, and she knew that this Aduni definitely had a hand in what had happened, but she didn't have any evidence, sadly. Maybe she was just too suspicious, as her husband had said. Mrs. Bello sat down with her sick daughter, deep in thought. It was unknown what the future held for this family. Let us watch and see. Please subscribe. Good boy, good boy. Aduni patted Tunde's head with an evil smile. You did a nice job. Did she eat the whole apple? No, Only 2 bites. The rest of the apple, I threw it away into the next compound. Tunde smiled back. Even at a young 14 years, his heart was already filled with so much evil, just like his mother. Every time they would come and be sharing rice, beans, money, like as if they are the only ones that have money in this world. Before New Year, I will finish these people. Their arrogance is too much. Do you want to know the ending of this story? Subscribe for part 2. It's coming out soon.